Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today we are going to make a super easy junk journal using a file folder. I have just a basic file folder here. It's like a craft paper file folder, and I'm going to show you how you can make an easy junk journal out of this. This would be the cover. I also have one of the new fall paper pads at Michael's in the Hot Buy section. It's called Autumn Dream. It's a beautiful collection, kind of farmhouse sort of style, but it just has beautiful papers. My favorite, I think, is this watercolor here. I just think that is so beautiful. But it has, here's another piece that has that watercolor on it. Just gorgeous. Here's some of the cut aparts that it comes with. So I think I may be using one of these for my cover. I have already used this on some of my junk journals that I'm making for my Etsy shop right now. So follow me here, subscribe to my channel if you want to see some of my journals that will be coming out. I'll be doing full flip throughs soon. Also follow me over on Instagram at Creative Crafticality so that you can see my progress and know when everything is going to be up in my shop. So yeah, here is another gorgeous page in this paper collection. This has lots of fun pages. This one's really sparkly. I don't think I'll use this in my junk journal, but there's this page that has lots of fall sayings on it. Autumn, family, cuddle, scarves, boots, cozy, kind of cool. This one here, that one's really pretty. So yeah, I'm going to use this. I have some laces gathered here. Some tools that you'll need are pencil, scissors, paper piercer, big needle for this is to bind it. I have some jute string that I'm going to use to bind mine together, some tacky glue, some ink to distress the edges, and my paper trimmer. Also, I gathered together pages to use within the junk journal. If you don't know what a junk journal is, it's making a junk journal or a little mini album to journal your thoughts or journal a trip, or just, you could just add pictures. It could just be memory keeping. So they call it a junk journal because you are gathering supplies that just different things that otherwise might be junk. That was the original thought process in a junk journal. People used like their old mail, old envelopes, anything that they had to make a journal. In my case, I am pulling together some vintage pages. I have this sheet music here. This was an old sewing catalog that my mother had from fall. It was like from the 1970s. Here is an old book page. This is from a cookbook. I picked it out for this one because it has a pumpkin pie recipe on it. Here is one, it's on leaves. Thought that would be perfect for fall. This is another cookbook one, has pie recipes. I have some coffee stained papers. So I have some graph paper. Here is some ledger paper, a piece of notebook paper, regular paper. I have a doily, and then I also have a lunch sack. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Let's move this stuff away here. This is all last minute stuff, so that can go over there. So I'm going to start with the cover, and what we are going to do with the cover, this is so easy. This is such a simple way to do a junk journal. So you just take your file folder with, it has the short side on the front here, and you're going to fold it in half. Can't get it any easier than this. Folding it in half. This is going to make a one signature junk journal. So now we have the back cover and the front cover. What I want to do now is I'm going to fold this down and leave like an inch from the spine to where you fold it, and just make this that there. And I'm going to leave this as a little flip up, but you could close it off on one, like maybe here, and have that be a pocket. Add your glue here. This is a pocket. I'm going to just add some glue here and make this whole thing a pocket, and then this be a little flip up. You can also stitch this, and that's normally what I like to do because I like that added texture. But for an easy junk journal, you don't need to even have a sewing machine to do this. So I'm just going to add my glue here, or you can use whatever kind of adhesive you have, or tearing tape, to close this off. And then my front cover, I want to make this a pocket here. So I am going to put my glue right from this point all the way over here so that this becomes a pocket. So I'm just going to add my glue. And of course you could close this off and have this be a pocket up there. It's just really whatever you would like to do. I'm also going to, so that whoever gets this junk journal knows that this is a pocket, I'm going to use a 1-inch hole punch that I have, a circle punch. I have this one, and I'm just going to punch the one layer of this so there's a little notch in there. There. So now you can see if there's something stuck in there. Another thing you could also do with this is cut this open here and have this be another page in your junk journal. That could work as well. So it's just endless possibilities. I've done a file folder flip book. If you'd like to see that, I will link that video down below, because file folders are just great for any kind of scrapbooking or paper crafting. So now what we're going to do is cover our front cover here. I'm going to go through this and decide what I want to use. I want to put down a base piece of cardstock or scrapbook paper. I'll keep that out because I want to use that. But I want to try and figure out which sheet I want to use here. I think I want to use this here, so I'm going to cut that off. And now I want to find something to go behind it that I think is going to look pretty here. I think that would look really pretty behind there. Yeah, I think I'll use that. Let me flip through here just to make sure there's anything else I want to use. I think this is what I want to go with.
So the first thing I did was cut out that front panel there to go underneath the bottom layer. I used my pencil and just kind of measured. Now I'm going through and tearing all four sides just to add a little bit of texture. And on those edges, I'm going to use my Distress ink and add just a little bit more dimension to the page. Then I'll go ahead and add some Distress ink on the base itself. And then I'm going to cut this down just a little bit, and I'm also going to tear the edges on this and go ahead and distress around that as well. I think that tearing the edges like this adds a little bit if you're not going to be sewing. Just adds more texture. And I'll go ahead and edge that with my ink. Now, on this I decided to make it a pocket, so I just put glue on 3 edges, and the base I'm adding glue over the whole thing. And I like to smooth it out with my finger just to distribute the glue around, and so there isn't any like pockets of glue that you can see through. Now I'm going to make a little tag to go inside that pocket. I just cut a piece that was probably, I think, around 3 inches by 6, and then I cut it down about 1.5 inches more to make it a little bit shorter to go in that pocket. I'm adding some scraps of paper to add some more layering. I had this little piece that has the little autumn saying there. I can't see what that says. I can't remember. But I'm tearing a couple of the edges. I wanted to make this floral pattern a little bit wider so it looked like that saying was on top of a wide piece of paper. And I didn't have any of that floral paper left, so I just used 2 small pieces and spaced them out a little bit. I'm just going to glue down my strips. I'll glue down one of those floral pieces and then space it apart and then add that saying on the inside. So it looks like it's a wider piece, but it's not. I punched a hole in the top and I'm adding some sari silk ribbon, 2 little strips, and then a double layer of jute twine to tie around the top of it. And that just makes a quick little tag. I have this eyelet lace that you can weave ribbon through, or it's not lace, but it's kind of a trim. So I have some rust colored ribbon that I'm lacing through it there, and I want to put that along the bottom of my album on the outside. I'm going to cover the back first before I do that, so I'm using another paper from the collection and just cutting it down, and then I'm going to tear the edges again. And then I'll go ahead and ink it. And glue that down. Now, something you can do on the back here is add another pocket if you want. I'm just leaving mine plain. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue this trim down. And I'm going to go around to the back. Now, working on the inside, I want to cover both sides of my inside cover. So I picked another piece of scrapbook paper. These I'm going to leave solid, not tear along the edges. But I'll go ahead and distress them. I had already punched the hole for the pocket there on the side, but I'm trying to line it up so I can punch that circle out of my scrapbook paper so it'll all be lined up. I'll just go ahead and glue those pieces down. I'm just edging everything. I'm making a pocket for each of the sides of my inside cover. So I took this cut apart and I'm cutting it down. I want to keep that saying at the top there. And then I'm going to tear around the edges and then go ahead and ink that as well. And that piece was the part I cut off of that cut apart, so I just did the same to that one and put glue on 3 sides. I'm cutting this cut apart down to make a little journal card there to stick in that pocket. This is another piece of the paper. I'm going to cover that little triangle piece, tear around the edge, and then ink it, and then I'll just glue that piece right down on top of there. So my cover is done. So now what I'm doing is going through all my papers and folding them in half. I'm going to glue the bag edges down to make a little tuck. Now I'm going through my scrapbook papers and I'm going to pick 3 that I like and I'm going to make those into pages. I like the rest of that one, so I'm going to cut it down. It's a little bit shorter than the others, but that's okay. I like to have variety in my pages. So I'm going to fold all these and cut them the way I want them, and I'm using my Distress ink now. On that one, I decided to fold in one of the sides to make a side pocket, so I'm gluing the edges there, so it makes a little tuck spot. On this one, I'm going to fold it and cut off about 1 inch on the sides and then fold up the end to make 2 pockets along the bottom, and then go ahead and distress the edges on that one. On this one, folding it in half again, cutting 1 inch off, and then I'm just going to make that, just cut that off the bottom. What was left of that page now, I'm using that to make a belly band around my the dark brown paper there. And then just put glue along the edges, and that will be a belly band around the whole outside of that page. And then on that belly band, there's plenty of room to add a picture, or I might go in and add some decoration to that. So for this page, I'm just edging it with my ink. I cut a piece off of that paper that I had left over, a corner piece. So I'm going to add a little corner tuck spot. And then on the inside, I took another scrap and I'm making that a belly band going vertically. And then I took another strip there of a scrap and I'm making that a horizontal belly band. And then I cut another triangle to make a tuck spot on the back of that page. So I have my pages ready. now I'm going to go through all my pages that I have and layer them all. I kind of try to alternate between just plain paper and then the specialty papers like the sheet music and the magazine pages and the book pages. And I believe I added like 1 scrapbook page and then 4 of my alternate papers. There is no rhyme or reason really, besides just wanting to add the plain papers, alternating the plain and the book pages. On this page there was it was a recipe book, so you could tell that it had been loved and cooked on because there was a food mark at the top and a little bit of a tear, so I added some rickrack to kind of make it more sturdy and add more color to the page. Now I have all of my pages stacked together. You want to make sure that they're all going as close as you can to the spine. Just make them super tight and then add paper clips along the edges down near the spine and then as well as the top or on the sides on the outside of the page. And now I'm connecting it to my cover. Now we are ready to sew our signature to the cover. So what you want to do is take a piece of your twine or whatever it is, whatever string you're using to attach, and you want that piece to be 3 times the height of your book. Go through the middle there and then up through one of the ends. And at first, pulling through is always the worst or the hardest part. I have a bigger needle that has a bigger hole because the jute twine is always has bunchier parts, so I need to have a bigger needle, but it is always more difficult to get it through the hole coming back through for some reason. Now you want to go up to your very top hole opposite the one you just pulled it through and then go back through the center. And if you have difficulty getting it through, you can always go back through the middle, take your needle back around and get it lined up, because sometimes the holes get messed, slightly off, then you can't get it through there, because there's also your initial poke through the center is still there, so that you're going through you're going through the hole when there's already your string through it. So there, I was able to get it through. Then you want to pull both your strings, make sure it's tight on the back, and then make sure one string is on one side of that center and one is on the other, and then just give it a double knot, and then I tie a bow in it and clip off the ends. And then just go ahead and pull your paper clips off, and it's all bound in. So now what I want to do is go through my laces and pull out some pieces. I usually like to add at least 3 pieces of lace of different kinds or trims along the edges to add to my book. So I have that eyelet lace, and then this piece is a vintage lace. It has a little bit of brown in it, and then I picked out some brown lace binding there. And normally I put my specialty laces along the edge onto my scrapbook papers because those are the strongest pages in the book. And I normally sew these in, but on this book, of course, I'm doing it all in glue. So the best way to do this is to add your glue and then put paper clips to hold it down. This particular lace was really thick and it soaked up the glue, so I had to add more glue to it because it would just soak it up in there, and then because I didn't have it paper clipped yet, it wasn't staying on there. So I went in with my paper clips, added it to the ends, and then I also added it along the side, and I had to fold down the lace. But it did dry after a few minutes, so that was good. There, I had to add some more. And for me, this would have been quicker to just sew it, but... And probably if you used Fabri-Tac, I think that would have been a little bit quicker. This one wasn't so bad. I still added the paper clips though, because I wanted it to stay in place while it was drying. And then for the brown lace, I just had to put some glue down a thin layer and kind of smooth it out and then add my lace on top. That has no problem staying. And I left it over the edge a little bit just so you could see it when you fold up the book. I like to have that. The lace is poking out. Now I just took a big piece of sari silk ribbon and tied it around 3 times and made a bow there, and that completes my junk journal. I might go in and add a charm or something like that, but I really love how this turned out. I hope you liked it too. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, leave me a comment and subscribe. Go on over to my Instagram, follow me there because I post things regularly so you know when things are going to be coming out in my shop or if I have a tutorial or something on my YouTube. So this is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.